especially when there's high conflict between parents. So here's how some kids have explained how they experience divorce.
I wish it wasn't too hard to go through.
Really hard.
It's hard though to see him like this and to see all the things that he's done, but I still love him no matter what. I always will.
It's really weird because you don't know when you're going to see them or stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard sometimes, but, you know.
Not good.
It's like a complete mystery to me. Like half of my life is like disappeared. Like I don't know what happened.
As stressful as divorce can be for adults, it can be even more overwhelming for children who didn't choose the situation and have no power to alter it. That's why it's so important for divorcing parents to help and support their children. How can parents know the best ways to help? Listen and learn from the very most qualified teachers, the children of divorce. Our experts, the kids themselves, repeatedly tell us that conflict between parents is the very most devastating part of divorce. Indeed, virtually all adult experts in the field of divorce adjustment agree.
The hardest part that I remember was going through the fighting. The hardest part of divorce is when they fight. I wish that everything would be back to normal, no more fighting, and our dad coming home instead of getting a divorce. I'm mad that Dad made Mom move out.
Instead of showing love to each other, they show animosity, and like they really don't need each other. And I don't think they try to hide it as much as they should.
Me and my brother, we had this staircase that leads right up to the living room. And we would just sit there and watch them from around the corner when they were yelling at each other.
When my mom and my stepdad used to fight, I would take my sister into my room, or I would never try to get in between it and say, "Can you please leave?" But I would take her and we would go in my room and we would talk and try to ignore them as much as possible. But when my birth mom and my birth dad would fight, I didn't have somebody to lean on and talk to.
The hardest thing for me was the part when she left my dad. It didn't feel good at all. And I asked her where we were going, and she didn't tell me.
My parents just kept fighting, and my brother and my mom's relationship kind of grew apart. So that was tough for me and him.
If I could ask my dad anything, it would be, why'd you leave?
You know, sometimes they're talking on the phone and they get into a fight and they just end up so angry and they hang up. And, you know, sometimes they take the anger out on people around them. And it's hard. It's hard on my little sister.
Even though children know that they did not cause the divorce, they almost always feel as though they are somehow at fault.
When I was young, I felt like it was my fault.
Fighting, they're kind of fighting over you and what's gonna happen with you between them. So it's kind of like you made it happen.
I kind of knew it wasn't my fault in a way, but I still felt like it was kind of my issue just because I was their kid.
At the first part of it, when my dad and my mom got divorced, yeah, it was me, that I did something.
It feels like it is like the kid's fault because happened when you were like first born, and you can see pictures of your parents before you were born and how happy they were together. And then like when the kids are born and stuff, everything just sort of went boom.
Children hate being put in the middle of conflict between their parents. Forcing them to take sides makes kids feel manipulated, frustrated, and helpless.
It kind of became a battle between, mom bashing on dad and dad bashing on mom and us kids in the middle of it. And it still goes on to this day, so it was always a lot of pressure.
I've seen this video dozens of times, and as you can tell, I always get choked up when I see it. Because litigation and conflict between parents is so damaging for kids, and there's tons and tons of research that talks about the negative impacts of parental conflict on children. And the problem with litigation, with litigating divorce cases, is the parents become so enmeshed in winning and the battle over who's going to get more time with the kids, who's going to be the primary residential parent, that they lose sight of how that battle is affecting their kids. So when I go back to some of the comments in that video, kids experience their parents' conflict in divorce cases in a number of ways. One is, like they said, seeing their parents fight all the time. And when parents are involved in litigation, it amplifies the conflict and it expands it, because litigation can take a long, long time. And the parties just get more and more angry and there's conflict. So kids hear their parents fighting and see their parents fighting. They also, when they're with one parent, will hear that parent bashing the other parent, and when they're with the other parent. So there's this mutual bashing going on outside of the presence of the other parent. And then the children also just feel their parents' stress and anxiety, even if it's not directed at them, because it is a stressful situation. Kids do often think it's their fault, and it makes sense, because who are the parents fighting over? The parents are fighting over the kids. The kids think it's their fault. And one of the factors in Idaho for determining what's in the best interest of the kids when the judge is making a decision, one of the factors is the wishes of the children. So what do parents do with that? They lobby their kids. Tell the judge, come tell my attorney, you really want to spend more time with me, right? Or parents actually have their children testify in court. I've had children testify in court. I've had kids as young as 8 testify in court. It's awful. The judges try to do it in the most gentle way possible, and usually the parents are asked to leave the room. But it is traumatic. No matter how you set it up, it's traumatic for those kids. And asking children to take sides, whether it's implicit or explicit, is a huge burden on kids. They should never be put in the position of having to decide between parents. Studies about parental conflict and the effect on kids show that children who are exposed to conflict between their parents end up having emotional and behavioral problems. They have sleep problems. They have anxiety and depression. They have a hard time developing relationships, and they have a hard time developing effective communication skills, because look who their models are. So just to kind of summarize, that when family law are issues, the end result is one party wins, one party loses. Or both parties lose because the judge doesn't accept or doesn't adopt either party's version of how things should be accomplished. And so what that does means the conflict is going to continue because neither party is satisfied. One or both parties are not satisfied with the judge's decision, and the children end up suffering because of the continued conflict between the parents.